Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to World of Warcraft, the miniatures game. So I previously did a video you can check out where I kind of explain the rules, what is it, everything. This is going to be the start of part 1 of 3 where I'm going to go over the miniatures and their cards and abilities. So I'm going to do one for the Alliance, one for the Horde, and one for the monsters. Just because I don't have a full set, but I have enough of each that I didn't want to make this like a, 2-3 hour long video. I figured I'd just sort it out each one, that way I can spend a little bit more time on each faction, going through their abilities and talking about them a little bit. If you guys enjoy this, let me know. And then if I eventually pick up more of these and I pick up the rest of the figures, I can do the video with the rest of them. Otherwise, yeah, if you want to know what the game basically is, check out the first video. Quick summary is just, it's a, could be a 2-player, you could play with more players, but it's a skirmish miniatures game. You're going to take your minis, and they have various abilities, and they use a clock feature, so every action you take does, take so many ticks of an action, and then your character doesn't get to perform an action again until the timer reaches that. So you gotta mix and manage your abilities with that. Alright, so without further ado, let's jump into this set. Alright, let's hop in and look at our monsters. So most of the monsters are going to have, their action bar cards are going to be specific to their class type. So unlike the Horde and Alliance, where you're going to have like a druid that can be passed amongst a bunch of druids, or a warlock, priest, so on and so forth. These guys have a lot of stuff that's going to be specific to their race, and there's a lot of different races. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ones that have multiples, at least right now, and then there's like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, there's like 13 or 14 other ones that might be working in there. So there's a lot more than there are, probably equal to the number of classes, but not as many different characters. So, but again, I don't have every monster, so there's probably multiples of some of these. And we're going to do something a little slightly different, so I am, rather than just randomly grabbing these, I'm going to try and do all the same races at the same time. With the exception, I'm going to start out with all the monsters that double as pets. So we have the Frost Saber Prowler, which is your tiger. If you have the Hunter summoning abilities. She has Ferocity, or has Slash. 3 ticks, 1 range, 5 melee. You can crit to go 4 melee, so you can go double attack. And he has Ferocity, he has +1. So his special ability is he's going to have Cornered, which has React. Play only when an attack targets this character. The attacker has -2 attack. Yeah, it's not bad. It's a good dodge ability for a beast character. And then he has... Ooh, I didn't even show him off, did I? In the middle of his pounce. His Bestial Fury buff. Buff characters may reroll 1 die while attacking, and enemy characters can't move buff character, kick it up, or reduce its movement. This is a great one for him because he can reroll on his dice. So if he didn't roll a crit, he can reroll a missed thing and try and roll it for a crit, and if he does, he gets an extra attack. So that's definitely good for him. We're going to follow it up with another beast, so he can also use those attacks. So you guys can kind of work as a team. We have Sunscale Scytheclaw, who's a beast and raptor, who has Quick Strike, 1, 1, and 3. So he's going to hit very often, not for a lot of damage, but he can hit a lot. And he has Hunt. Sunscale Scytheclaw has +1. Physical attack while attacking an enemy, has no adjacent allies. Yeah, so if you can get get a guy away from someone or by themselves. So what you really want with someone like him would be a way to get him closer, quicker, get his extra movement up, so he can attack more often. But he's also going to get this Bestial Fury, so it gives him that extra reroll a die so you can get that crit easier. The next other thing is he'll have a little bit more powerful attack. He has Rip to Shreds. Range 1, but he has 5 power. This attack makes this attack twice against the same target. So it kind of works like the Blood, or the Panther, or the Tiger's main ability. So you can do this twice, but yeah, so this guy can either go a bunch of quick ones, or he can go a big focused, big attack. I keep forgetting to show these guys off. So there's our Raptor. Yeah, I think it's Blood Claw was the Raptor summon. So this is what the summon will look like if you use the physical model. Our next beast, who is also a summon, is our Iron Fur Bear. So this is Old Bones or Mishra. So it has Claw 3, 1, and 5, and 5 or +1 damage, and he has Protector. Then adjacent ally be attacked by an enemy not adjacent to it. Iron Fur Bear may become the defender instead. Yeah, comes in, takes that. So he's got the Bear Necessities. Instant, choose 1, heal 1 damage from this character, remove 1 debuff, or this character moves 1 space. So, like, say, Raptor, really use something that helps him move. He could definitely use this being as a beast, and get the extra move, or if he needs to heal, he can do that. So there's our bear. And then we also have Death Blow. So he has a basic attack, which now anyone can use. Now this can also be used with regular Alliance or Horde characters. So it says deal 1 damage to target enemy with 1 remaining health. So you've seen other abilities like that, which go with 2. This one's a little bit weaker, but it's also free to use. But yeah, if you just need that last little bit of a hit, you can do that. I think that was... Yeah, that's all of the beasts I have. Regardless of whether they're summons or not. So we have the 3 different beasts. And again, there's probably more. I don't have every character. But we do have, like, I don't even have all the summons. Like, I don't have a Void Walker. Unfortunately, I wish I did. Those guys look freaking awesome. So we have the Succubus. So this is Hellwing. She's a little bit tippy on her base. She probably should be standing up a little bit straighter. But, you know, so it happens I throw everything into a box. Demon Succubus. She has, if my camera would stay focused, Lash of Pain, 3, 1, and 5. You defender exhaust one of its action bars, and then Seduction. For 2 kicks and 2 range, you can exhaust one of Hellwing's action bar cards to add 2 kicks to target enemy. So yeah, she can, you know, spend actions to slow guys down, or you can shut down their abilities. So definitely some interesting stuff like that. Then she also has just a healing potion. It can be used by anybody, you know, if you didn't have one already. But yeah, just lets you pay 2 to try and heal, or pay 0 to try and heal for 2, potentially healing 1 additional crit. And then she does have a demon-specific ability, the Dark Portal, which has 1 health. Put a portal counter with 1 health on this character space. Allies included this character may spawn on this counter space. So this is kind of cool, because it gives monsters an ability to spawn anywhere. So, drop this down closer to the middle of the battlefield. Character, they die, they can just spawn right there. Gives you a little bit of an advantage. And then kind of like totems, your opponent has to decide whether it's worth wasting an attack on this or not. So that's a fun thing there. Then our last character I have that's a summon is Grimdron, the Demon Imp. So we're going to get a little tiny... I caught him. Dropped him off my table, but I caught him. Little tiny imp. Kind of hanging out down there. So I think one of the warlocks can summon him. Firebolt 2/2 with 3 fire damage, +1 crit, damage on crit, and blood pact. All other allies gain +1. So these guys generally cost a little less. Not all of them. But a lot of them, like Tiger still costs 6. I think the bear, yeah, it was 5. And the succubus was, or the bear is 5. That was the raptor. And the succubus is also 5. So yeah, those guys cost, he costs 3. So you could maybe have multiple imps. But yeah, having a couple of them around where they give all your allies +1 doesn't even need to be adjacent to them. Plus they're going to give your demons some extra things. They're going to get avoidance. Rack. Players only if a character or an adjacent ally is in the afflicted area of an enemy AoE attack. Character and adjacent allies have 2 physical and magical shields this turn. Now, it has to be an AoE attack, so it is kind of limited, on when it's going to hit, but it could definitely save you in that case. And again, it gives you a reason if you have a bunch of guys sitting next to each other to avoid not worry about AoE attacks. And then we have Flame Wave. So 1 range, 2 power. He has Channel. So Channel just means that you have to keep paying 1 every turn you use it. So you use a normal action bar card, spend the kick, and then you exhaust it, and you don't get to use it anymore until it refreshes at round 10. Or at kick 10 at the end of the round. Channel lets you spend it 1 every turn to keep using this ability. So at 1 range, he can keep doing 2 damage, or 2 power every turn. And it also attacks the enemies in 2 spaces beyond the initial targeted in a straight line, ignoring line of sight. And you can do 1 damage. Basically, you can keep shooting straight forward 3 spaces. Every turn as long as he keeps paying for it or he doesn't get knocked out of it. So channel abilities are really, can be really powerful. But they just cost you every turn to keep using them. But so far they've all only cost 1. I haven't seen anything that's cost higher than 1. Alright, so we're going to jump into some other demons. So long as we did the 2, we'll see what else we can do with the demons. We have the Felguard Legionnaire. A giant axe. Big old spike in the back, big old spiky helmet. I'm not really sure how that chest plate stays up unless it's solid armor, and that seems like that's gonna hurt if he leans into that. But he has the Morrigan Cleaver, 3 ticks, 1 range, 5 melee. Crit, make a 1 range 4 melee attack against a different enemy. So he's going to swing it around and hit somebody else. Demon Frenzy. Felguard Legion may reroll 1 die while attacking for each damage on it. And then he has Taunt. So he's going to take more damage, and then as he takes more damage, he gets to keep rerolling dice, which will only make crits more often. So as he starts taking a lot of damage, he's probably going to end up critting every turn, doing 2 damage. Which is crazy, right? So then he also has Avoidance, which we just saw. So we'll just kind of skip over that one. But he also has the Curse of Cthulhu, which is a 3-range debuff curse. This debuff may target an ally, including this character. If it does, heal 2 damage from this character. At the end of turns 5 and 10, debuff character takes 1 damage. Yeah, so it's like a quick heal. You can quickly heal 2, then he's going to take 1 extra damage. But the net, overall, it's basically he's going to heal 2 now. It's an immediate 2 heal, with the potential of taking 2 damage, which just reverse it back to nothing. And if you don't get that debuff off him, he's going to keep taking more and more damage. So it's an interesting thing. So if your character might die soon, heal him 2 quick, like between, maybe kick 6 and 10. And if they die by 10, it's not a big deal. But yeah, it could be definitely a fun little thing to put on different guys. Then our other demon is Wrathguard. Which has some big old blades everywhere. Blades on his knees, 2 bladed swords, blades on his hands, blades on his shoulder, double blades on his shoulders, blades sticking out the back of his helmet, plus blades on his tail as well. So this guy is, he's bladed out. And of course his attack is going to be Minar's Blade, 3/1 with 3 melee, and crit with 1 extra damage. And deal 1 damage to an adjacent ally, put 1 +1 counter on Wrathguard. So you could team him up with the Felguard demon, Legionnaire there. So he could deal 1 damage to that guy to gain 1 counter on him, and then that guy does extra damage because he has damage cards. So these guys could basically work as a nice little tag team there. And since there's, again, not a lot of different race classes, when you're getting these race cards, we're going to start mixing together, so he's going to get another Flame Wave. But we do have a new one. We have Blood Bond. Heal. This character heals up to 3 damage to target ally. If it does, heal 1 damage from this character for each damage dealt. So yeah, he can hit a guy for 3, and then he can heal 1. So again, this could work with that other guy well. Hey, boom, right off the bat, I'm going to hit you for 3. You're going to do a lot more damage, and then I'm going to turn around and heal myself, and then if that guy used his Curse of Kuluthus, he can immediately heal 2 of that damage. So, I mean, he could take the attack, do the extra thing, and then, you know, on his next turn or whatever, heal for 2, get some of his health back. Yeah, so it could be a fun little combo with those demons. That could be very interesting. Up next, I want to look at a very well-known class for Warcraft, the Murloc. I love little Murlocs. So this is the Marsh Murloc, which is a sea creature and a Murloc. It says Ocean's Edge. There's a little, like, fishy amphibian piranha guys, so they get to walk around. They're kind of like the annoying little spawn mobs. So he has it says damage Murloc allies, including this character, have +1 move. So as long as they're hurt, they get to move a lot quicker. And it's Ocean Edge, just fairly simple. 3/1/5. So he's gonna get a regular dodge ability. Play only when an attack card this character has +2 attack, +2 shields this damage. So he gets to move more if he is hurt, and if not, he can try and dodge. And then he also has Mighty Gurgle, which is only for a Murloc. This character's next attack this turn has +1 magic or physical for each other sea creature ally adjacent to the defender. So this is fun because it's all sea creatures, not just Murlocs. There are other sea creatures in the game. So this could get very powerful depending on how many different guys you have out. And Murlocs don't cost that much. They're only 5. So again, if you're playing a 20-point cost game, you could have 4 of these guys if you really wanted to. And they could all be kind of working in tandem, or you could have multiple different guys. So we do have a second Murloc. We have Blightlight Murloc. So this one's purple and gray. He's got a staff and a skull, so they do use some equipment. So this is kind of neat because he's also a mage. He's a sea creature Murloc mage. He's just the mage symbol. So he could use mage abilities. So now this guy can use sea creature abilities, Murloc abilities, and mage abilities. So this guy's actually got a lot going on for him. He has Destructive Gurgle, 4, 3, and 6. The Defender exhausts one of its action bar cards, and Blind Sight. Blind Light Murloc and adjacent sea creature allies ignore enemies while determining line of sight. So yeah, if these guys kind of stick together, they can get some big bonuses from each other. So he's going to get a generic mana potion. It says this character pays 1 less to make its next magic attack pay a minimum of 1. So that would really help with his 4 drops it down to 3. Or if you give him a different magic attack, you might be able to make it a 2 into a 1. And then he's got Ice Barrier, which is rad. Play only when an attack targets this character. Prevent next 2 damage will be dealt to this character this attack. So the other one did. So this one just straight up prevents, where the other Murloc had the dodge card, which gave him extra defense. This just straight up protects, but so that's definitely a fun, different thing there. Alright, we have some more sea creatures, so let's look at them. We have Slitherblade Tidehunter, which is a sea creature and a Tidehunter. So now it can use the sea creature abilities that the Murlocs had, the action bar cards, as well as teaming up for their other things. It has a giant, like, water snake with a spear, or a trident, rather. So he's going to get Relentless Harpoon. 2, 2, 4, and 4. Slitherblade Tidehunter may teleport the defender adjacent to him and pay 3 for Python Grab immediately. So he can automatically just do it. Not free, but he just can do it immediately. And he has Python Grabs, 3, 1, and 5. Defender can't move during its next turn. So you just throw this Harpoon out, and essentially if he crits it, he can bring him next to him. You can immediately pay 3, which is going to be 5, so it's about the only thing he's going to do for a while. But if you crit on that, besides if you haven't killed him between the 4 damage and then the extra 5 damage, or dice, if you somehow haven't killed them between them, they're not going to be able to move on their next turn if you can crit that second time. So that's going to make that very interesting. Because then they're not dead, but then they're sitting there kind of stuck. They can still attack you, but they can't get away. And then help out that, he even has Serpent Sting. When a debuff enemy takes an action, deal 1 damage to it. So here could be a good combo for that follow. Harpoon him, potentially 4 damage. Bring him next to you if you crit, potentially 5 damage. They can't move, and then if you hit him with the Serpent Sting, they're going to take 1 damage. So they can't move. If they try to do any action, they're going to take 1 damage. So for somehow, if you didn't kill them, this will guarantee 1 extra damage on them. So they might decide not to do anything or sacrifice their character. Then we have Kelpnet. So this works with all sea creatures, so both Murlocs can use this as well. Put a -1 move counter on target enemy. Remove that counter at the end of kicks 5 and 10. So this just helps reduce their movement, keeps them away, which might be helpful if you have ranged attacks. Alright, our next sea creature is going to be Bloodscale Wavecaller. So another sea serpent snake, which is not a Tidehunter. But it is also another mage. So we have 2 sea creatures that are also mages. Waterbolt. 3/3 5. Teleport a sea creature out to 2 spaces. Bring them next to you or push them away. So that's definitely fun, whichever you need to do. And then the Aura of Nazdratar. Wavecaller and adjacent sea creatures may reroll 1 die while attacking. So the sea creatures work very well when they're next to each other. So we have another Kelpnet to help out with that. And then her magic spell, she gets Frost Nova. 0, range 0, instant, add 1 to each adjacent enemy. So very much a support character. But yeah, just bring guys close to you, and then boom, add 1 kick to every enemy. Now they can't move. You can get some extra attacks, and you're going to take longer to attack. You got some really good combos there. The last sea creature I have is a legendary. So we have Lady Vaj, sea creature, Naga, and a shaman. She has Fork Lightning. So I do love that they have monsters that have magical classes. They're not just all like the random roaming monsters. Go kill 20 boars. Some of these have different classes, which makes sense. It gives them extra abilities to use. I wish that they'd given some of the potentially had some of the Horde and Alliance characters, I had more of them, that would have had some of the monster class things. That would have been kind of neat as well. So you could have maybe had like 1 or couple here and there. Maybe again, if they continued the game, they would have done that. But that would have been neat to have like a Horde character that had like the Beast trait or the Sea Serpent trait, like someone like kind of like they have 1 Horde character, a couple Horde characters that aren't one of the traditional races. So it'd been neat if they would have also had the monster trait or one of the traits in there, so they could use some different monster cards. That would have been fun. So here we have Sea Creature, Naga, and Shaman Elemental. She's crazy. Nagas are just, 6 arms? Wielding a crossbow or a bow, even though she's a shaman. Plus snakes all over her hair, I'm guessing. A little bit of everything there. Fork Lightning, 2, 3, and 5 nature or 5 range. You can do a magic attack or a ranged or a physical attack. And if you crit, you can make another range 3, 5, or 5. So she can do all. And then Queen of the Seas, adjacent sea creatures, allies have taunt. So basically she's around other sea creatures, which we've already shown they can help each other out, boosting extra rerolls or extra health. And then she can basically say, hey, now you all have to attack each other. Attack them first. And then she has legendaries. This awards double VP when destroyed. You can play no more than 1 legendary character. So legendary characters, they cost 10, so if you have an army of like 20, you're only going to get 1 and then a couple other characters. But if you had like the Murgles, you could have, or Murlocs, you could have, 2 of the Murlocs or 2 other sea creatures that could definitely support her. Cool. So then she's going to get her magic cards. So she's going to have Wrath of Air Totem. So she has a Shaman Totem, which has 1 health. Allies on her distance totem may reroll 1 die while playing magic or healing abilities. So that's definitely fun. This could be great just to add to any shaman. Get just extra abilities. Works great for her. Makes her magic even a little bit better. And it also makes them so your opponents have to decide if they want to waste their time attacking the totem or not. Then, as a legendary, she has her own special ability, so only she can use this, which is Static Charge. She has a debuff at 3 range. When debuff character takes an action, deal 1 damage to it and each of its adjacent allies. So you see a lot of like other cards that work like this, but the specific character legendary ones are basically souped up versions. But yeah, she can shoot guys, hit potentially 2 different attacks off of it. And then she can also then shoot this debuff out and deal 1 damage. If he doesn't finish him off, she can shoot one out, hopefully finish off a guy or bring him closer, and then hit the other guys next to him. So that could definitely be a fun thing to do. Alright, up next, we're going to look at some ogres. So we got this big one. Boulder Fist Warriors. This is a big naked ogre here. There's Bone Hammer. Who's going to have Gargantuan Hammer 4 with 1 and 7. Crit, move the defender up to 2 spaces away from Boulder Fist Warrior, and Steadfast. Ogre allies, including this character, can't be kicked up by enemies. So again, the monster races work really well together. Yeah, he has 11 health, which is how much a lot of the legendary characters have. He's not legendary. So, yeah, this guy's kind of crazy. He doesn't have much for defense, though. He really can't defense. He's just all about attacking. So he's also going to get a warrior class. Breakthrough. Instant. This character can move through or into enemy-occupied spaces this turn. When it does, teleport that enemy 1 space. So he just basically, get the heck out of my way. It says on the bottom. Out of my way, Alamar Ironhope. Yeah, so he's going to shove guys wherever he needs to go. He doesn't care. And if he needs, alternative attack, he has Boulder Toss, which all ogres can use. 3 and 5 power, and if you crit, move the defender 1 space. So, yeah, he can, with his current abilities here, he can run up to you, hit you up to 1 space away for 7 damage, and then smack you 2 spaces away, and then he can throw a boulder at you for 5, move him even 1 more spaces away, if you crit again. So he could just basically keep shoving you across the board, and if he needed to, run up, bash him a space away, then hit him, got some interesting little combos there. Our next ogre is Crush Ridge Ogre, who's an ogre shaman. Yeah, so this, I'm not sure if this is a guy or a lady, because it kind of has like breastplates on. Um, and I don't know how ogres work for gender. But yeah, it's got a spiked, like a spiked fist. That is crazy, right? Like a super non-traditional weapon. Spiked club costs 6 to use, but it does 8 melee, crits for 1 extra damage. As Bellow, ogre allies may reroll 1 guy while attacking. Yeah, so you keep these 2 guys next to each other. They get a reroll 1 guy, which is super great. Helps with them crits, as well as they can't have their ticks up. Both have 11 health, so they're going to be hard to kill. And then there's Lightning Blast. 4, 2, and 6. Make a 4 melee against adjacent target enemy. So someone's next to you, you can bash them a second time, but you also have some range just in case they're too far away. Then being ogre, we're going to get another boulder toss, but we're also going to get healing wave. 2, 5, and heal, subtract 1 from this character's tick so they can use their abilities more often. Yeah, so you guys don't have a lot of defense, so having a healer sitting next to them isn't a bad idea either. And then the other ogre can bash them away, and this one can heal them. Our third ogre, our final ogre, is Dagum Tigor, the 2-headed ogre, rogue ninja. I don't think I've seen ninja anywhere else, but he's also a rogue, and he's 2-headed. So I don't know if he's classified as 2-headed ogre, has to be just ogre, or if you look at 2-headed being 1 trait, ogre being 1 trait, rogue being 1 trait, and ninja. So there's a little bit of a gap between rogue and ninja, so I guess that would have to be your definition. 2-headed ogre is the same as a regular ogre or not. But yeah, these guys are crazy. 1 eye. They're wearing the full ninja getup, even though they're giant ogres. So he has kunai, 2, 1, and 4. Dagum Tigor may pay 0 to play the Shuriken immediately. And then Shuriken is 2, 2 with range of 3, with a potential 1, 4 damage. And it's me hiding. Dagum can't reroll while defending. So you got a little bit of a weakness there, but yeah, he can, come up and bash you for 1, then throw a shuriken at someone else. They're like all rogues, they like to run away. But he's actually going to get a little bit different. He's going to have kick. Play only when enemy within range plays a non-physical ability, negate that ability, and deal 1 damage to that enemy. So yeah, so instead of running away, he can kind of like, oh, you're going to hit me with a magic spell, I'm just going to smack you away, and deal some damage. Or he has a quick strike, he has Sinister Strike, instant attack, range 2, and you can ready this card if you crit. Which again works with that rogue, like they just stab you for a little bit of damage, then run off. This will help you use this repeatedly. Smack him with it, ready it, you can maybe potentially use it a second time. So there are ogre cards, plus if you're at the 1 ogre, they can reroll attacks, so that would definitely be fun. Alright, up next we have Rethlagor, the Warden. So the Warden did become playable classes eventually, but not before this set was out. So it'd be interesting to see if they continue the game, what they were going to do with that, because if they have more Warden enemies other than just this one, they have Warden abilities, that means the heroes should potentially also be able to use them. And that's hard to say, because all the other ones have a class which has to match that symbol, and this has a monster symbol with the Warden ability to be a monster ability, so maybe it can still only be used by monsters. That'd be interesting to see what they did with that. Alright, so he has Wolfclaw, 2, 1, 4, crit does 1 extra damage, and he has Nocturnal. On clicks 6 to 10, he has plus 1 to his armor, resist, and physical attacks, and 1 move. So he gets a lot better in the second half, and then he kind of slows back down. So I think that'd also be an ability they probably always have to give all the Warden heroes. Not necessarily, because I have one that maybe like they don't do the warding stuff as often. You know, who knows? Again, it'd be interesting to see what they did with that. His action bar cards, he does get quick reflexes. So play only when enemy kicks this character up. Subtract that many kicks from this character. That character can't be kicked up until the enemies this turn. Excuse me. So a really cool ability if you're getting hit by kicks. Otherwise, it kind of just sits around. So this might be whether you use it or not. Is very optional. Being able to get 2 cards. If you could have like 5 or 6 cards out, and you could only use them like each certain amount of times or something like that. Or you can only use like you got 5 cards out, but you could only use 2 every round, regardless. So you have to keep swapping between them and stuff. Then maybe something like this might be worth having out, but just one by itself, not sure. But then Warden ability has Lycanthropy. Its cost 1, it says buff, target a non-Warden ally. Buffed ally gains the race Warden, and during kicks has this. This would again be cool if they have more Warden abilities as well. Or another Warden that powers up other Warden characters. Because then you could turn your other characters into that and help them out. But I only have the one, so I'm not for sure on that. Alright, let's look at some elementals. So we're going to look at the Bog Elemental first. So it's an elemental and he's a druid. It's a swamp monster. The big vines, big beefy boy. Flowers on his head. Definitely man thing and swamp thing inspired. Bog Grasp. 4-1 with 7. Crit, put in -1 move counter on a defender, and move that at the tick of 5 and 10. And Natural Form. Bog Elemental can't play form cards. So although he is a druid, he can't become a bear or a cat. Which makes sense. But still definitely cool because you can use different druid cards. So let's see what he can do. So one of his druid cards he can use is Entangling Roots. Which makes sense, his roots all over him. Debuff, put 3 root counters on debuffed enemy. Debuffed enemy can't move until no root counters remain or it teleports. At the end of a turn, when it takes damage, remove a root counter. Yes, that's cool. I think that's also one of the only cards I've seen that has multiple counters on it. Everything else you just put 1 counter on a thing and then either you use that up or at the end of the turn it goes away. This one actually kind of could stick around for a while. Yeah, so it can't move. So no root or it teleports. So if that's teleport, it's kind of pointless to use this. But otherwise, yeah, it sits there until it takes damage or has to wait 3 turns. Still attacking everything, but yeah, great way to stop guys. And then since you're druid, you can use it with your Horde and Alliance characters. And then we have Elemental Charge for Elementals. We have instant, this character's next attack has +1 melee or magic. Can't be negated, redirected, or taunted. Yeah, that's really cool. That should be almost great to have for any other character to be able to use as well. But just the fact is Elementals can be like, you know what, extra damage to whoever I want and only that person. So let's see what other elemental characters we have that could maybe use that ability. The Enraged Fire Spirit. These are awesome little miniatures here. So he's like clear fire, but he has a big gauntlet. Like ashy bottom. It's really cool. So he has Furnace Touch. 3-1 and 6 fire. Deal 2 damage to target adjacent enemy to the defender. And then he has Furnace. Yeah, so that's nice. He hits them and he does 2 damage to an adjacent enemy as well. And then Furnace, when an enemy enters a space adjacent to a ranged Fire Spirit, deal 1 damage to that enemy. So this could be a great way of even combining him with the other, the Bog Elemental. Have Bog Elemental root a guy, then have him run up and just stand next to him. or he hits the guy next to him, does damage, or he just stands next to him. All it says when enemy enters his space, so it wouldn't work now. I guess if they entered his space, you could root them next to him, and then you'll take extra damage while they're waiting for that root to go away. But he's also a fire creature, and each fire spirit can also have fire cards in its action bar. So this is actually a cool thing that again, if the game expanded or other characters, I hope more have this ability. He can use anything that has a fire subtype to it. With restrictions. You can't have more than one of the same one. And you can't use something that's exclusive only to a specific character. So if it's only for like a boss, or you have to have like a balanced druid or something like that, or a certain thing, he can't use it. So he has quick reflexes, we saw, which is alright. But he gets flame strike. But he has lots of opportunities to use a bunch of different cards. So he's not a mage, but he can use mage because it has fire. It's not attack fire. I believe it has to be the fire type. It's not fire in the name, because flame strike obviously doesn't say fire. But it has 6, range 2 does 6 AoE, target 2 spaces and 2 spaces adjacent to each other, and deal 1 damage. So this is kind of fun, because the guy kind of has normally a melee attack, does extra damage and guys are next to him, but then you can shoot out fire if you have this card. You can also use that elemental charge as well from the last guy if you didn't want that other card. His next attack does +1, it can't be negated, redirect, or conquer. Oh, it's an AoE, it doesn't matter. But adding an extra 1 damage would not be a bad idea either. So our other ones, we have a Storm Rager Elemental, who's a giant tornado, has lightning going up his bottom. His bottom. Yeah, his type definitely looks awesome. Like little mini tornado with like wrists and hands. I love that they have like that physical form. Like, that's really cool. So he has Gale Force, 3, 4, and 5, and he can move the defender up to 2 spaces. Flight. Storm Rager ignores terrain move penalties and can move through enemies. And Air Creature. Can also have cards in its action bar with air, cyclone, hurricane, or lightning in their name. So his specifies in their name, where the fire one says, can also have fire cards. So his have to be fire cards. It might be attack, like flame based. Might just be the subtype fire. That might be a rule book thing to look at. But this guy can have one air, cyclone, hurricane, or lightning. Now, I only have the 2 other elementals. And if you don't count the bog elemental as being like an earth elemental, it means we don't really have like an earth type character, and we don't have a water type character. So I hope there are more elementals, and I just didn't get them. But it also could be a thing as maybe they were going to be in later sets. So both these guys are from core, so they could have been in the second set. Let's look at his abilities. So he can have a shaman attack. He has chain lightning. I've seen before. Basically, it does 5 damage. Or 5 power, and then you can make an attack after this for 4 against the next enemy adjacent to him, and then a 3 attack against a third enemy adjacent to the second one, and all 3 have crit damage 1. So if you crit and you get really good, it could be 6, 5, and 4. But you have to roll each one separately, but that's definitely fun. Then he also has a generic airdrop ability, range 1. Play only if this character has flight. So there's very few characters currently that have flight. But teleport target character up to 2 spaces. So again, teleporting lets you skip through things. Flight lets you ignore stuff. So ignore terrain move penalties and can move through enemies. And then flight just lets you straight up teleport. So you can avoid anything else that might be in the way, or movement penalties and stuff like that. So airdrop, I like this also the fact that it's a basic card, so anyone could use it if they have flight. I think there's maybe 1 alliance character that gained flight. Otherwise, not a lot of characters have it. Alright. Up next, let's look at another legendary. We got a human mage who's hanging out with the monsters. He's Archmage Argral. Yes, this is fun because he is technically a human. He's a mage, so he gets all them bonuses if he's next to characters that have bonuses for that. But he's also a monster trait, or the monster race for faction wise. So it's Void Bolt, 3/3 with a 7. Argo may add 2 kicks to all characters, including dead characters. That is crazy, right? So if you die instead of starting at 1 or 2, or starting at 2, he could end up making you start at 4. He has teleportation. If Argo would move, he may teleport up to 3 spaces instead. And legendary, double VP when destroyed. He may play on one legendary character. So he doesn't have a lot of health like most legendaries do, but he has some nasty abilities. Let's look at what his action bar contains. He has Counterspell. Play only when an enemy player plays an ability other than a physical attack, negate that ability. So you can just shut down anything trying to hit him at range. And then his specific ability for him only is You Too Shall Serve. 3 range, Arcane. Play only during picks 6 to 10. End Argo's turn, gain control of target non-legendary enemy, and immediately take a turn with it. Both that enemy and Argo pay its costs for the turn. So that's actually a really fun ability. Yeah, it costs him extra to do it too, but it, you can take control of someone else and have him do it. Now, that means he can, I would assume that means he can also use their action bar cards. So this could also be a great way for not only doing extra damage, maybe he's next to other enemies or hitting somebody else, but you could move him away, you could waste his action bar cards doing something that he doesn't need to do. Like, oh, he's at 1 health, I can play his healing thing that does 5. Oh well, I guess he healed, 4 damage off that 1 health, but now he has to wait to use that potion again. So that could definitely be a fun little thing to do. Alright, we got a new race. We have the Arkoa Warriors. So this is Seth the Talon Lords. These are bird creatures. That don't look like they fly very well. But yeah, that's very neat. Did I put the wrong one? I did, I bet. I did. That is the wrong one. This is Talon Lord. Look at it, you guys got a dagger. Dagger and cloak. They're little, they're like bird creatures, but then they have like these little metal masks on. That's really neat. Alright, so he has Talon of Justice, 3, 1, and 5. He can also use warrior abilities. And he has Taunt. So it's kind of like your basic character, nothing super special about him. But he can add +1 kick to the defender on a crit. He has Intercept, which has a range of 3 rack. Play only at the start of a kick before any character is taking a turn. Teleport this character to the nearest empty space adjacent to the target. Add 1 to that enemy. So you can jump in front of somebody else and stop them from taking an action that turn, which definitely save yourself a lot of headache. Then we have a fun equipment card, which makes this guy really worth it. The X-52 Rocket Helm has 1 honor. Anyone can use it. And it has this character has flight. It ignores terrain and move penalties and can move through enemies. So that would work really well with that elemental card, Airdrop, that we just saw. Because it says someone has to have flight. You can combine these two. He always has flight now because he has that equipment. And you can teleport 2 spaces. So if you really just needed to focus on moving people around. And again, this kind of thing gets to where, again, if you had, 5 spaces on your action bar versus 2, you could definitely see where having some of these combinations be really, really crazy, real bit cool. I get, having 5 for 3 characters, having 15 cards out might be a lot. But it might be an interesting way to play the game, kind of spice some stuff up. Especially if you've gotten a ton of characters. So you have, the first set of 66 characters. Every character has 2 cards. So that's 132 cards. which not all of them are duplicates. So, even if 100 of them are different and there's 30 duplicates, it's still 100 different cards. And you're only playing with, you're playing 3 characters. That's 6 cards out of 100. Having 15 might not be that big of a deal. So here we have Shilnor Sorcerer and Arakoa Shaman. So we already kind of looked at that one. Who does Lightning Bolt? 4, 3, and 6. Heal 1 damage from the Sorcerer and Power of Kranish. Main attacks of Arakoa allies, including this character, gain crit, subtract 1 from this character. So if there's more of these guys, that would definitely be awesome. Or then, you can always play games instead of, I always keep saying 20 as a base, because I'm thinking 10, 15, you're only going to get 1, sometimes 2 characters. You get maybe 2 characters at most, but if you play 20, you could get 3, 4. You could play a 50-point army, have a big, giant, massive game, or play a team game. Total, you guys get 50 points between the 2 players on each team, but then 1 player controls someone, controls the other, but it's not necessarily, not necessarily I have 25, they have 25, so you could kind of bounce that number between the 2 of you. That's kind of an interesting game to play. As a shaman, we have a Air Wrath Totem, or Wrath of Air Totem. So this has 1 health. Allies honor adjacent. This totem may reroll 1 die while playing magic or healing abilities. So this could definitely be fun combined with some certain characters. And then the Arakoa have a special ability called Rotten Eggs. Put an egg counter with 1 health on this character's face. This counter counts as a totem. At the end of ticks 5 and 10, add 1 tick to each enemy on or adjacent to this counter. The enemy destroys this counter, add 1 tick to that enemy. This is kind of neat. It's its own special totem. I don't know why it didn't just have it be listed as a totem, unless they didn't want this card to be affected by totem abilities, or because no other monster has that. I don't know, kind of weird, but it is what it is. Alright, we're getting towards the end. We're going to look at some mechanical monsters. We have the Tempest Forged Destroyer, which is this big bad boy. He's got them clear joint pieces, which are really neat. He's got clear crystal gauntlets. A blue eye. He's all sorts of sentinel-like. I can see him guarding my castle in Zelda. Link has to go and fight this big guy, so there's a crossover. Put Link in this game. Tempest Forged Destroyer. He has Smash. 3, 1, and 6. Deals 1 damage. Static Power Core. At the end of turn, tick 5. Ready any upgrade card. Yeah, so that's kind of neat. We haven't seen any upgrade cards so far, but he gets to power them up. And it doesn't specify his, it just says any. So let's look at one of those. We have Arcane Infusion, which is a mechanical card. Range 1 buff. Upgrade. Buff only mechanical allies. Remove this buff when the ally rolls a crit while attacking. Buffed allies' main attacks become arcane instead. Yes, that's kind of neat. So you can just give them magical attacks if you need to, and then his ability lets him use this multiple times. Then he also has Fog of War. Characters can target only adjacent allies and enemies this tick. So this kind of shuts down range attacks anyhow. So since his main attack is an up close melee one, you can have it do 6 melee, or you could Arcane Infuse it, have it become Arcane. Then you can also play Fog of War so that nobody can hit you after you can back away, and then now they have to come after you. So that could be an interesting combo. Let's see what our other mechanical guy does. We only have the 2 of them right now. We have a Harvest Golem. Creepy eyes under there. This is big bladed claws. He's got a fence tied to his back. This is a definitely an interesting character. He's like a beefy scarecrow who's going to probably murder you. I hate to be walking by a cornfield and have that guy attack me. So he has Reaping Claws. 3, 1, and 5, crit 1 extra damage. And good health with 10. And then it has Harvest Splash. When an enemy stops moving, if it moved out of a space adjacent to Harvest Golem this turn, roll 1 die. On success, deal 2 damage to that enemy. So yeah, if they moved out of his space near him, he's going to attack them on the way out. Then his abilities, we have a Swiftness Potion. A lot of characters could use this. This character has +1 move this turn. Just free extra movement point might be very great for a lot of people to use. And then we have a mechanical card. So Fear Generator with buff and upgrade, so their other character can help with this card, or he can use it. Buff only mechanical ally. Remove this buff when that ally rolls a crit while attacking. When buffed ally deals damage to when a buffed ally deals attack damage to an enemy adjacent to it, you may also move that enemy that many spaces away from buffed ally. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So they do hit him, they can move him away, plus his ability means, hey, if they moved away, he gets to hit them again. What's also fun with this, because I think the other one said the same thing with, upgrade. Remove this buff when an ally rolls a crit. So this would be kind of a fun, different way to play them. Abilities that are like, hey, if this ally is around, you can reroll 1 die. Now imagine rerolling a crit. I rolled 1 crit. Crap, I don't want to get rid of my buffs. Reroll your crit. So you get to keep your buffs versus your other abilities. That's an interesting combination. Let's look at another legendary. We have Ross Frostwhisper, an undead mage. So here we have a giant skeletal mage. You can see his midsection is missing. This guy's an epic, of course, because he's a legendary. But yeah, we got a big old bad mage who has 9 health. Soul Trap. 2 ticks, 3 range, 5 frost. If defender is destroyed and this attack deals 2 damage to target enemy. Yeah, that's cool. So you just kill somebody just to hit somebody else. And then Chill Aura. At the start of Ra's turn, move. Put 1 -1 move counter on each adjacent enemy without 1. Move that counter at the end of ticks 5 and 1. And then he's legendary, of course. Yeah, so it's definitely cool. You just like freeze guys around him. So to help him out with that, he's going to have a mage ability called Blink. Cost 0 instant. This character teleports up to 2 spaces. So you can get right next to guys in the thick of it. And then you can also use his specific ability, Frostbolt Volley. 3 with a power of 6. Add 1 tick to the defender and each of its adjacent allies. Crit, deal 1 damage to the defender and each of its adjacent allies. This guy's all about like mass damage. He's gonna slow these guys down. If you do get a crit, he's gonna deal damage to all of them. And then if he has his chilling aura, if he happens to be near him, he's gonna slow them down so he can get away. Use Blink to get away even quicker. And he has Soul Trap. If he does kill one of them guys, he's gonna deal 2 damage to another guy next to him. So he already can Frostbolt to weaken a bunch of them, then Soul Trap to try and finish them off, and uses other cards to escape. That's definitely cool. Plus he's a mage, so we have other definite mage abilities we could give him. Alright, we have a new race. We have the Ethereals. We have an Ethereal mage. We have Razani Nexus Stalker. These are kind of cool. They're like half transparent. He has like mummy wraps around him. Got a little blade. He's trying to cast a spell from his 1 finger there. Warp Discharge. 2, 1, and 4 arcane. Nexus Stalker may teleport 1 space and repeats its attack against an enemy who hasn't been attacked this turn. So that's kind of fun. He can bounce around. And there's Astral Travel. At the start of each Ethereal ally's turn, instead of moving it, may teleport adjacent to an enemy within 2 spaces. This character counts as an ally. So that's definitely fun. Again, the synergy between allies Other monster races is really fun. Spell Steal Mage. Range 3, move a buff or counter from target enemy and attach it to this character. That is fun. Now even imagine that with Ross. Instead of having Blink, you can go ahead and pull buffs or counters from somebody else and make it more powerful. And then we have Arcane Blast. Range 3, power 6. Crit deal 1 damage. This character may pay 1 less tick to play this card while it's exhausted. If it does, remove this from the game. So that's kind of neat. So you can play a second time, but then you only get to use it them 2 times. But hey, maybe you need that as a final attack. That could be really cool. Again, this could be even great with Raj there, because like, yeah, you need that you know, we just played him or show him off. If you need that final boost to damage, boom, I can take someone out one last time. Now let's see what our other Ezreal does. Ezreal Crypt Raider. So this guy's clearish purple with his neat blue. It's a neat way to do it. It's a little like weird hand axe called Soul Strike. 3, 1, and 5. Ezreal Crypt Raider may teleport 1 space. It is all about teleporting. And then Piercing Strike. Adjacent enemies can't be healed, while other Crypt Raider has a ready equipment card in its action bar. So this guy has equipment, they can't heal, and then the other guys can get next to each other. Fun little combos there. Alright, so his warrior ability, he has Disarm. So it says it's an instant at range 1. It says put a -1 physical or magic counter on target character. The counter then a tick 5. Exhaust a weapon card in enemy's action bar. So again, this could be very good depending on who you're playing against. Just -1's never actually bad, but exhausting a weapon could be very perfect. Speaking of weapons, because he gets a bonus from him, he has the Fell Boomstick. So this is Rogue, Warrior, or Hunter. So I have Rogue with a gun. Adds 2 honor, but it says at 2 kicks do 2 to 4 range to a 3 range attack, crit 1 damage, and loud. When this character loses stealth, will attack with Fell Boomstick. There's a downside about a stealthy characters yet, but the reason why it'd be fun to give this to a rogue would be because the whole thing with rogues, as I keep saying, their whole thing would be kind of like jump in, do a couple attacks, and get out. Well, now that they're at a range, let them shoot a gun at you. If they're not far enough, maybe they're not far enough away to get out of stealth, or they're just far enough, they can hit you with a gun, and then they can always jump back and get stealth again later. So that'd be kind of a fun thing. More equipment's definitely fun. Alright, then our last card is going to be our last legendary, and we saved him because it's the Pandarian Brewmaster. So like the Worgen, the Pandarians became a playable race later on. So again, it'd be interesting to see what they did if this became a thing. Like, would they just add them in there? And then now other Pandarian cards, how do they affect them, all that type of stuff. You have Chen Storm Stout. It's a big panda drinking kegs. He's a ninja bear. I thought even kind of tried to represent like the liquid going down his mouth. It's kind of neat. I don't know if they meant to do that, but that's just paint running. But it still looks kind of cool. Barehanded Strike. 2, 1, and 5. Put a chi counter on Defender. Karma, one ally, including this character, attacks or defends against an enemy with a chi counter. That ally may reroll any number of its dice. Ooh, that's fun. Especially because chi counters don't go away by any reason. And then he has Legendary, of course. Now again, like I said with the mechanical guys, they don't want to roll crits to keep their buffs. So imagine teaming him up with them guys. He's running around smacking people, putting chi counters on them if you get lucky. And then these other guys can run around and do some extra damage by not having to play their crits. So that could be a fun combo. We have a Scroll Strength for anyone to use instant item. Reroll up to 2 dice during this character's next physical attack. Definitely be great for a lot of characters, be worth getting him. And then Care for a Pint, Chen Storm Stout's specific ability, range 0. Heal 2 damage from this character. Adjacent allies may play this card as though it were in their action bar, healing themselves. Recharge, ready at turn 5. So these 6-round guys, anyone can use this for a free 2 heal. That's definitely a cool little ability. But nothing specifying Pandarian. Alright, so that's what I got for this. You can check out the other videos, check out the Alliance and Horde miniatures, check out the how to play if you want a little bit more idea of what the heck I'm talking about with all these cards and what all the little symbols and stuff mean. If you haven't. If you're enjoying this, let me know in the comments or like the video if you want. That way if I pick up more characters to try and complete my collection, I can always do an extra video finishing off the rest of the things. See you guys then. Bye.